Greetings, everyone. It is Monday and my 5th week of podcasting. This week, we are going to talk about successful sentences. Yes, successful sentences. What would I say in Turkish? Başarılı cümleler? I guess so. What I am going to teach you this week is how to make sentences in Turkish. I'm going to explain it in a way that you will be able to use to speak English. Most of my students will say, I know English. I have learned all the vocabulary and all the grammar. I have so much English in my head. And when I start talking to them, a lot of them do know English, but they can't speak. Now, there's different reasons they can't speak. I've gone over some of them. I've talked about stress hormones in another podcast and how when you're stressed out, you can't really think properly. And how are you supposed to speak a language that isn't your own, a second language, when you're stressed out? You can't. This week is going to help you speak English. It's going to help you use all that grammar and vocabulary that you already know. And we are going to reprogram your brains so that your brains can easily form English sentences. Now, this is a subject that I think we need to use a visual for, because I think that it's going to be easier for you to understand, and it's going to be easier for me to explain it to you. Okay, so we are starting off today on Monday with the basic English sentence, which is comprised of subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. Let's get into it. The problem is that my students know tons of words and vocabulary in English, but they can't use them to make a sentence. Now, that means a couple things. First of all, they simply struggle to speak English in the first place. Secondly, they give it a go, but they use their own language's sentence structure. Now, obviously, this podcast is for Turkish speakers who are learning English. However, I think that people who have other mother tongues can also at least view this video on YouTube, because the message is the same. So when you take English words and you use your own language's structure, often those sentences that you're trying to form don't make sense. Pretty obvious. Each language has parts of speech, and they share a lot of them. There's things such as in Turkish like mi or me, the question marker. There's also in Japanese we have a question marker. We say o genki desu ka? How are you? Or are you healthy? And the ka is the question marker. It's how are you, but the Japanese version. So, for instance, English doesn't have a question marker. We use a question mark, which is punctuation. But Japanese and Turkish happen to share a question marker. This is why we have to use the parts of speech that are native to the language we're speaking. We can't mix them up. So, to help us get there, let's talk about the sentence structure. So when we form the most basic Turkish sentence, we do in fact also use subject-verb, kind of. For instance, I might say, Erkan yer. Erkan eats. In English, I just said it. Erkan eats. Erkan is the subject and the verb is eat. So, Erkan yer. In English, Erkan eats. Now, when we add the object, things get more complicated. For instance, in English we say, I go to school. In Turkish we say okula giderim. Literally, school to go I. So English, I go to school. Turkish, school to go I. Now it's very different. In Turkish, the normal order is subject, object, verb, or even just object, verb. And then we put in the subject marker, I guess I would say, at the end of the verb. So I might say pizza yerler. They eat pizza. I don't use onlar for they, right? I'm not saying onlar pizza yerler. I'm just saying pizza yerler. So we know they eat pizza. The ler on the end of yer is my subject. It's telling me what my subject is. It's telling me that my subject is they. In English, as I just said, it's they, my subject, eat is my verb, and pizza is my object. We don't always have the object. We might have adjective or adverb. We might have a verb phrase or a noun phrase, but I don't want to get into that. I want to get into this. I want you to learn this perfectly. And then in the upcoming days, I'm going to build on this basic structure, and you're going to understand how to make more complex sentences. English wants to put the verb in the middle of the sentence. English is always looking for the verb. I have another week coming up where we're going to talk about verbs and how the verb is your key to decoding a sentence. And when you're first starting to listen to English to try and understand it, you should always listen for the verb. In fact, I would say to people, memorize the most common 100 verbs, look for the verb in the sentence, and that will help you understand a lot more than you might do now. Turkish, as we know, puts the verb at the end of the sentence. And this is difficult for English speakers like me because I'm always looking for the verb. I'm looking for the action in the sentence. Instead, I have to remember the other information the speaker is giving me before I get to the sentence. All right, but let's look at this English construction closer. What is a subject? The subject is the person, place, thing, or idea that does the action or is being talked about. So examples are she, the dog, John. These are very simple examples. It says a person, she, a thing, the dog, John is a person, but I could also say Paris. Paris is a place. Or an idea. I could say love. Okay? So this is our subject. Our subject is whatever is doing something or being talked about in the sentence. Next comes the verb. The verb is the action or state of being. It tells me what the subject is doing. The subject might just be existing. I could say, Paris is big. Paris is the subject, is the verb, and big is the adjective. It's kind of in the place of the object. Let's go back to our verbs though. Examples of action verbs, for instance, read, eat, run, write, play. Examples of state verbs, I just said the verb to be is, seems, and feels. Okay? All right, object. The object is the person or thing that receives the action of the verb. All right, it's what is being done to what? It's the what that's being done to. Okay, for example, an apple, the ball, a book. I said they eat pizza. They is the subject. Eat is the verb. And what are they eating? The pizza. So English always asks in the sentence who or what is acting or being. And what is that action or state of being? And what is that action or state of being done to? So, subject, verb, object. Let's practice this. So, she reads books. My subject is she, my verb is reads, and my object is books. Who is doing what in the sentence? She. What is she doing? She reads. And what is she reading? She reads books. So you're asking yourself these questions every time you want to form an English sentence. What do I want to say? Who is doing what to what? Tom kicked the ball. Who or what did something in this sentence? It's a past tense sentence. We've already gone through past simple, right? Tom did something in this sentence. What did Tom do? He kicked. What did Tom kick? He kicked the ball. Tom is the subject, verb is kicked, and the object is ball. And we put an article in it to make the ball. Don't worry about articles. That's the topic for another podcast. All right. I like coffee. What is the subject? Who is doing what in this sentence? I am doing something in this sentence. And what am I doing? I am liking. So I like. And what do I like? The object is coffee. Coffee is being liked. I like coffee. We watched a movie. Subject we, verb watched, object a movie. And then we have a for the article. Don't worry about it. We watched a movie. He opened the door. Who did what in this sentence? He did. What did he do? He opened. What did he open? The door. Subject he, verb opened, object the door. The cat chases a mouse. Who or what is doing something in this sentence? The cat. The subject is the cat. What is the cat doing? The cat chases. What does the cat chase? The object, the mouse. Mary painted a picture. Mary is the subject. She did something. She painted. Mary painted. She painted a picture. That's my object. Subject Mary, verb painted, object a picture. Now, I think that's clear. I hope it's clear. If it's not, rewind and watch it again. Let's go back to she reads books. The subject is she, the verb is read, and the object is books. The reason I love teaching this in this way is because now is where the magic happens. Let's change the subject. The subject is she. We'll change it to we. Now we have to take the S off because it's he, she, it reads, but I, you, we, they read. All right, so we change the verb, no problem. Now we have we read books. Let's change the verb. We write books. We write books. Now let's change the object. Emails. We write emails. So we went from she reads books to we read books to we write books to we write emails. So we just said 4 different things by changing the subject, verb, and the object once in the original sentence. Pretty cool. Now let's take these sentences and let's combine them. For example, we write books and she reads books. By adding and, we make a more complicated sentence. We write books, she reads books. What about this? We write the books that she reads. Now we're going to get into those different words that help us form more complex sentences or compound sentences. But for now, I'm trying to just show you what we can do with this basic construct because that's the whole point of this video. So we write books that she reads. We added that. We dropped the book, the object in she reads books, because we don't really need it again. And we've got the sentence, we write the books that she reads. All right, let's try. I like coffee. Subject I, verb like, object coffee. We're going to do the same thing. Change the subject. They like coffee. Change the verb. Buy. They buy coffee. Now we're going to change the object. They buy tea. So I like coffee, they like coffee, they buy coffee, they buy tea. I do this exercise all the time with my new students. It also is helping us to train our brains. This is something that a lot of language apps do. I personally use Duolingo because I like it. And one thing I hear from my students, they say, Duolingo's boring. That's the point. You think it's boring because it's going at something a different way over and over. But what it's really doing is programming your brain. And I'm going to get into ways you can help yourself learn English in another podcast, in another week. All right, so let's do the same thing we did before. Let's combine. I like coffee, but they buy tea. Here we kept all the words, but we put in but. Now, this sentence implies something. It gives us an idea that, well, I like coffee, but they buy tea instead. So when I'm with they, whoever they are, I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea. It's a good sentence and it has a pretty deep meaning. Let's do he opened the door. Subject he, verb opened, object the door. Let's change the subject as we're doing to she opened the door. Now the verb, she broke the door. I don't know how she did it, but I've seen it before. She broke the door. I've never done it myself. Now the object, she broke the window. He opened the door. She opened the door. She broke the door. She broke the window. That's going to be expensive. Let's make another complex sentence using these sentences. Now, when we combine sentences like this, we're actually creating clauses. And we'll get into independent and dependent clauses later on in the week. For now, however, let's just combine our sentences so you get the idea what we can do with these basic sentences that will become clauses. He opened the door because she broke the window. Because is our linking word. He opened the door because she broke the window. We're not really implying anything. The meaning is clear. She broke the window, and because of that, he opened the door. Probably because when she broke the window, there was a loud sound, and he wanted to know what happened, so he came outside. I'm always saying to people, just speak simply. There's nothing wrong with just speaking in simple sentences. Then you will learn the linking words, then you will learn how to add more information. But if your point in learning English is to communicate, here you go, an easy way to communicate. The point this week is to teach you grammar, but in a unique way. I want you to use what information I'm giving you right now. So the takeaway is the subject usually comes first. The verb is after the subject. And if there is an object, it follows the verb. Some sentences don't have objects. They are very simple sentences, but they still are a sentence. Now, how are you going to practice this? I just said that I want you to learn from what I'm teaching you. So how can you play with this? How can you use what I've explained? Here's an idea. Go to ChatGPT or Google Translate or whatever you want, put in the sentences, and look at how they're structured in your own language. If you are a Turkish speaker, then I've already given you a clue. Even if you are, you can still do this to get further information. Now, in a language such as French or Italian or Portuguese, they'll usually have the same structure. In Turkish, as I said, totally different. Although in simple sentences, we have the same structure. Learn where your language puts the subject, verb, and object, and rewire your brain to use English order when you're speaking English. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Tomorrow we're going to build on that. We're going to build on combining those simple sentences together to make clauses. And I'm going to go through the different words that we would use to combine sentences. I'm going to talk to you about a good many, and I'm going to give examples for them. There's a lot of linking words or conjunctions in English, and you don't have to use all of them. You can understand them, but let's pick out the ones that are going to be most useful for you tomorrow. So come back tomorrow and watch that podcast video, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. Do subscribe if you like this video so that you will be able to follow this whole series this week and really begin to speak English in a much easier, more relaxed way. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all tomorrow. Well, I won't see you, but you'll see me. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.